When you're planning your writing, always allow some time to think about the question, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, at the beginning of the 40-minute allocation, but do think and plan ahead. Note down some clear and relevant ideas. Make a brief plan of the organization of your essay and what's going to be included in it. Here's an example of a plan. The introduction is going to talk about smoking in businesses and government. Good idea, but is it a restriction on some of our freedoms? Let's have a look at the first point, smoking in businesses. Is it a good idea? Smokers may work better if they can smoke. On the other hand, passive smoking, there may be objections from other staff who don't smoke. Is it true that smoking in businesses takes away our freedom? You may argue that businesses have the right to limit their staff activities. What about government limitations on smoking in public places? Is that a good idea? What are the costs to society? Passive smoking, the litter created by people who throw away their cigarettes and their cigarette packets. What about the costs of health care? Are there any benefits to society? Governments get a lot of tax from tobacco companies, and smokers claim they get a lot of pleasure from smoking. There are pressure groups, however, smokers trying to stop people banning smoking, and tobacco companies, and of course people who sponsor sporting events. Is it true that the government limitations take away our freedom? Well, some people would say that the government has the right to regulate citizens' activities, but will citizens support the regulations? And finally, come to some kind of conclusion. Okay, as we did with Task 1, let's look at this Task 2 response in more detail. The introduction is obviously very important because it gives the reader the first impression of what you're going to talk about. Your introduction should only consist of a few sentences, and in those few sentences you should introduce the topic, preface the main points, define what you understand by the task, and show how you intend to approach the task. But don't say specifically, I intend to approach the task in this way. Here's an example of the kind of introduction you could write for this essay. Limitations on smoking in businesses and public places are a controversial topic, as although they may be a good idea, they may also interfere with people's freedom. Non-smokers are likely to think that banning smoking is a good idea, but smokers naturally may not. Different cultures may have varying attitudes to whether businesses or governments have the right to ban smoking in certain places. Once we have the introduction out of the way, we move into the body of the essay. Banning smoking in businesses may not be a good idea because smokers may work better if they can smoke. However, passive smoking can cause objections from colleagues. Although such bans may reduce freedom, businesses are widely seen as having the right to regulate staff activities. Governments may also ban smoking in public. This may be a good idea due to the costs to society of smoking, such as litter and healthcare. However, smoking in public may also benefit society, for example in tax revenue and the pleasure of smokers. Also, pressure groups such as tobacco companies may discourage limitations on smoking. As for freedom, in many cultures the government has the right to regulate citizens' activities. It is also increasingly possible that citizens would support such bans. The final part of your essay is, of course, the conclusion. Here's a conclusion that you could possibly write for the smoking essay. As a non-smoker, I believe that limiting smoking in workplaces and in public is a good idea. I can also understand the opinion of smokers that banning smoking in such places limits their freedom. If the effects of smoking were limited to smokers, I would oppose bans. But as smoking affects the health of others, I support them. So as you can see, that's had a brief look at both Task 1 and Task 2 in the IELTS Academic Writing module. If you want to study further, the best thing to do is to get one of these books on this slide. Good luck with your academic writing.